Why is the Central African Republic trapped in a cycle of violence? Right now, the capital, Bangui, is apocalyptic. That's how the CAR's former Prime Minister, Martin Ziguele, describes it.
The Central African Republic is accusing former leader François Bozizé of an attempted coup, as the government says Rwanda and Russia have sent in troops to counter a surge in violence.
The United Nations mission in the Central African Republic and other authorities in the country held a ceremony to honor 2 peacekeepers killed in the last week.
One of the rebels is captured alive, but security forces save him from a mob who want him dead. Later, he's paraded on state TV by the country's security minister.
Look, these are foreign fighters. This one doesn't even speak French or the local language.
For those of you not familiar with the CAR, it's home to 4.7 million people and is rich in natural resources, including diamonds, gold, oil, and uranium. Despite this, it's one of the world's poorest countries. Half the population identifies as Christian and 15% as Muslim, with the rest adhering to indigenous beliefs. The landlocked Central African nation gained independence from France in 1960 and then saw a string of military governments. Fast forward to 2013, when the Seleka, an alliance of Muslim rebel groups, overthrew President François Bozizé. That triggered the civil war we are seeing today between the Seleka and the anti-Balaka, a group of mostly Christian militias.
In 2013, rebels overthrew the president at the time, François Bozizé. That was after months of fighting.
Michel Djotodia and his Seleka coalition seizing the city last Sunday.
Christians took up arms to form self-defense groups called the anti-Balaka and began carrying out revenge killings against Muslims.
In 2019, armed groups across the country signed a peace deal in Khartoum to resolve the 6-year conflict, but several others joined what's known as the Coalition of Patriots for Change, or CPC, and today that group is seeking to overthrow the current president, Faustin-Archange Touadera, who won a second term late last year.
Central African Republic is facing an attempt to destabilize a democratically elected government. We believe former President Bozizé and foreign mercenaries are organizing attacks.
The rebel coalition continues its offensive in several localities even after the presidential and legislative election of December 27th.
According to the UN, since December, more than 200,000 people have been uprooted by the violence, with 100,000 refugees fleeing to neighboring countries. Attempts to resolve the crisis have failed over and over again. There are at least 14 different rebel forces now in control of around 2/3 of the country, but the capital, Bangui, has remained elusive. It's not only being defended by government forces and a UN peacekeeping mission, but by Russian troops. And you might be wondering, Russia?
It's got UN Security Council approval to train the Central African Army and to provide them with weapons. But really, why has Russia got involved? It's always maintained that its actions were in response to a request for help from the CAR. But among the agreements that the two nations have signed is one involving mining exploration.
According to Stephen Buchanan Clark from Good Governance Africa, Russian interests in the CAR mirrors its wider strategy in Africa, which is centered on access to natural resources to counter American influence on the continent and to gain African support for Moscow at the UN. And their growing influence has raised eyebrows in France, which has historical ties with the CAR. Keen to assert influence, both have engaged in disinformation campaigns. There's also been many reports of rebel groups using blood diamonds to finance their insurgency. In fact, in 2015, the United Nations Security Council blacklisted the Belgian branch of a CAR diamond trading company because the money was being used by rebels to fight government forces. The CAR has been plagued by instability since it gained independence in the 60s. But now its lucrative minerals have caught the eye of other global players. Perhaps the CAR has become another example of a country cursed by its natural wealth.